Good morning, everybody. My name is Jamie, and this is the Daily Hangout. I can't play guitar, and we're hanging out today on July 10th, 2023. We're going to get right into things because my son's sleeping, but he won't be for long. We're just going to start watching this video right away called The Problem with Grifting, I Mean Gurus, by Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, Foreign Friday. Looks like Noah Sampson, FD Signifier. And then we got Jordan Peterson and who's that? Banjer Mate in the title, the thumbnail. All right, here we go. Looking real manly.
I was saying, I don't think any man can perform the traditional provide, protect patriarchy without either one becoming tyrannical or becoming bitter. It's going to end up being one or the other.
In a foreign land.
So, we have a litany of other things. One of the biggest criticisms that I got from my last video with Noah, which is how to man like a leftist. This was the last video that me and Noah did. And it was us discussing a very rampant criticism that we have, which is that the left doesn't know what to do with cishet men. You know? Like, we don't give good advice to cishet men.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't care about them. We care more about the trans. We care more about the non-binaries. We care more about the women and femmes them. But nothing for the men in the masks. Nothing for them at all. And I will concede that I indeed did not give y'all any actionable advice.
This man's a natural poet, yes?
I'm so tired of you, Andrew. I did not give. I basically told y'all what not to do. Me and Noah were talking about things that we should not do as cishet men. And this is a terminally straight, fatally straight stream right now, as you can see.
Fatally
straight. We told y'all
straight.
what not to do as it pertains to getting women. And I thought that would be enough because the whole principle of that video is the way that the right talks about procuring sex is a problem in itself. Getting girls, the idea that you have to get girls is already some yam head things. You know what I'm saying? Like what the dog
doing?
Like
what the dog doing?
That's the type of vibe I'm getting from that.
No.
So immediately, if you start, Andrew's killing me. So like
The
y'all
echo
need
on
to,
that sound effect is so funny.
This is what Noah sent me. So
Every single one of them come forward.
Oh no. Why do they always have such a bad hairline?
These dudes always look like this. They always look like they're about to get beat up by Jean-Claude Van Damme at the end of the movie.
Oh my fucking god.
Or if that's like too new, I don't know, Ip Man or whoever the new action person is.
Chris Hemsworth.
Like these dudes always look
About to be beat to a pulp in Extraction 2.
To the last villain at the end of the movie.
Their skincare routines like this. HGH.
That guy just looks just like him, dog. He's like a better looking Dave Bautista.
I rub testosterone on my face.
No disrespect to Dave Bautista. You're more interesting and like a better person. You're more attractive, but
man, just like he got like the glazed ham.
You know what I mean.
FDR.
He's a stock model.
I'm telling you, like I don't understand how I got. Anyway, let's hear what is this man's name? Sterling Cooper.
I guess he's like a former porn star that he sells a course on how to make your penis larger for like $70. So it's definitely
$70?
For $70?
I wouldn't trust that.
On the
That's
price.
how you know that shit don't work.
Bro,
If there were, trust me, anything that makes your penis larger, when it finally exists, it will only be affordable to Elon Musk. And he will definitely get it
right away.
right. He will be the first person.
He's got a team researching on it right now. So
Right.
When I had to do research for that How to Man Like a Leftist video, and I got into some of those communities, even the Negrophilia video, and you get into some of these incel communities, and you get to the talk about like dick maxing. That's what they call it, penis maxing.
Dick maxing.
Dick maxing.
That's actually
is the word.
That's actually dope. I want. That's a punk rock band.
Max it out, baby.
Right there.
Max my
I
cock
ain't
out.
talking about like some
What the
very,
fuck, bro?
very dangerous penile exercises. I talking about they hanging weights, they
I seen you.
they jelking, they doing
Yeah.
all kind of things to their dick. I was just like, fam, y'all ain't gonna be able to use that shit. You ain't got no more feeling in the tip.
As the high-earning individuals who preach wokeism, they all have an accountant who makes sure they pay as little tax as possible. I don't see them donating millions of dollars to charity. I don't see them helping out the homeless in San Francisco.
about?
I see them just hanging out in their Beverly Hills mansion, going to like the Met Gala, wearing a fancy dress.
It's more a culture thing for them, I think.
Maybe in their like hierarchy of the
What's
social
that?
status, that is
Lil
what's
Nas X.
Cool, but there's no substance to
They're
it.
like,
It's purely posturing.
these rappers and
So
What is he even saying?
I am
Yeah,
not
really.
sure. Is he saying that to be
a
rich
whole
is
lot
to
of
not
nothing, dude.
partake in charity?
He said woke and then showed the Kardashians.
Yeah, that's like a good representation of just how nebulous the term is, because it's like woke is celebrity culture that are rich and like work for liberal Hollywood, but also it's like an anti-capitalist argument that rich people don't help out the poor and that they don't participate in charity, but they're also woke. So it's just like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
the redundant. It's really just it speaks to the galvanizing effect of anti something, right?
Yeah.
Like you get who was I think we were talking thumbnails. I was talking to Anansi about thumbnails and like explaining clickbait Anansi, shout out to Anansi's library, just dropped a dope video on the Ethiopian revolution, but I was explaining to them like your thumbnails need to, like, people complain about clickbait, but it works, right? They complain about clickbait, but it's like, shut up. Shut up and click the video. Shut up and watch the video. I only was trying to get you to click it. If you watch the video, you like it, shut up. And like, I get that most of the time. I get a lot of comments like, oh, I was baited, but this is good. And it's the reality is the human brain, I can't remember what this is, insert nebulous study I read once upon a time or something, but like the brain will remember things that disgust it and will respond to things that bother it quicker and more.
Yeah, anger's way harder to
intensely
shake,
than
man.
things that
Happiness
it
goes away
enjoys.
easy.
And so these types of guys, that's their whole like content strategy is I want to trigger 15-year-old incels. Incels are the most valuable commodity on the internet because they watch the most content. They are the most regular and loyal watchers as long as you give them what they want. And or if you make content that is anti-incel, which we all do to some extent, that is a big commodity. And so like, but it starts to get to a point where like nothing means anything. And so you have, the bodyguard of the TELUS Corporation doing videos about stuff that has no like logical through line other than it's definitely anti-woke. And so either I like it or I don't,
It's like rage bait, and it's amazing. Like it's a matter of, because that's what they were saying about like the last video, and fully aware. Like in the last video, the two people on the thumbnail was only in the video for about 6 minutes altogether, and I could tell the people that came only for that part, and that's the reason why I labeled it. You scoundrels are looking for this part of the video, and I could see that like you didn't engage with the rest of it. So it's a great litmus test. So I'm more like, okay, I'm gonna see who's here for what. And at the end of the day, it does work. Like, That's the YouTube game, and that's the YouTube out. Because I mean, like, if I just put up a video, if the title was marginalized privilege, and I put up a picture of J.K. Rowling and something else, I mean, it wouldn't have done the numbers. But if I use like this small thing, it's not about like what represents the video to the best of its fidelity. It's about what will get you into the video. That's what the thumbnail is for.
The video
also,
represents
like,
itself.
Gave that topic due diligence. Like, it wasn't clickbait in the sense that you just used them and didn't talk about them. They're still kind of like a
he's frozen.
meaningful part of the video.
No.
The video is funny because you can see the retention graph is just like this, and then
pop right up.
I mean, every time there's drama, but still, I mean, it obviously, like you're saying, it worked. So
Oh, they say that I'm low? Because I be talking loud. I just boosted myself up some more, though. So I know y'all can hear me. But yeah, when it comes to stuff like this, I mean, like, I'm not even sure. Like, but it does tie into, like, this economic factor. And I mean, a great way to, like, tie this into dating is, like, this discussion about courtship and money as it pertains to the men in the relationship. So, like, we see this. If you on Black people Twitter, you see this a lot. Like,
would you go 50-50?
Would you go 50-50?
Would you 50-50?
What?
Like literally every
Is Noah spicy white?
48 hours.
Spicy white. What does that mean?
It's a 50. But as it pertains to like men in the relationship and our relationship with money, like, this is a
white.
hard
You need
discussion.
to fill me in, people.
Like, because no matter how progressive of the gal that you dating, and we're talking in cishet binaries right now, no matter how progressive the gal is, they gonna like a little bit of patriarchy when it comes to like how you relegate things, how you, especially like when it comes to like, my wife's battery was low, and she started the car and like the thing did a little so she came in here right before I was about to go on stream. I think this was like or about to go like do an interview.
Dude, it sounds like my
look,
wife.
I was sweating out in the hot sun, ass crack showing, changing the battery and all that shit. And look, she took a video and she sent it to me. She was just like, "Damn, daddy, you sexy." And I was just like, "Look, chill." And I hated the shit. I hated it. I hate look, I hate this patriarchy shit, okay? But guess what? That shit do numbers though. That shit be working.
Numbers.
It do numbers. That shit go.
Yeah,
that
I'm
shit
about
go
to
mad.
post a picture of myself with my
I think
son
of when it comes to
swimming. I was like, gonna just
So
say
let's
fucking dad bod.
let
See
me
if it does
speed run
numbers,
all
man.
the qualifiers, right? We all grew up under patriarchy. We all weaned under that, and that shapes our concepts of attraction and value within partners, and we eroticize that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many elements of it that are that tie into dynamics of power, and how we view femininity, how we view masculinity, etc. And so, no matter how progressive you are in your politics, the personal is going to have to negotiate that reality in different situations. You kind of have to just draw lines where your boundaries are. So, Foreign
Yeah,
gave a
this
good
is
example.
funny. This is
I
really
like to think of
interesting.
like performing patriarchy in a partnership sense as almost like salsa on wings, flavor on, you know what I'm saying? Like seasoning.
What?
You know, like you want to have a useful, strong core, like to whatever your partnership is, but you might have a partner that says, you know, I don't want to take out the trash. Which my wife, by the way, takes out the trash in our household, right? Like my wife takes out the trash all the time. But like I've commented before, like I don't let her get gas though. You know what I'm saying? I like to fill the gas up in our cars. One, just as a performance of traditional masculinity in our partnership, but two, because I live in Atlanta and motherfuckers be getting jacked at gas stations. Ladies be getting jacked at gas stations. That is a thing you have to kind of negotiate, and you want to do it without that bitterness that comes with the negotiation, because there is so you have boundaries, right? Like there's been times where I've had to talk to a partner, my wife, etc., even before I understood these politics, and be like, hey, the way you're engaging with me right now is not gonna work. I don't feel like you're engaging with me as a person. You're engaging with me as a concept, a concept.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I feel objectified.
Yeah, I've had to say that to my wife too, FD. It's weird, but my wife was like calling me. I don't want to say anything bad about my wife. Not that she didn't do anything bad, but he's putting it in a perfect way. Like, it's easy for someone, even someone that's progressive in a relationship, that might still ask within your relationship for something that's like a patriarchal norm. Like my wife likes a lot of the stuff they're talking about here. And there have been a few times where I've had to tell her, like, yo, why don't you do it? And I've stepped up and done a lot of the, parenting duties that are traditionally for the female role. So I feel completely justified, not in being like, tit for tat or whatever, but, if I feel like it's getting a little objectified, and in the vein of what FD is talking about, I feel like it's completely within your right to say, hey, I don't really like the way the situation is being framed right now. Can we talk about it?
About this, and like ongoing thing. When you start talking about finances, provider, protector roles and dynamics, like set boundaries. And that's one thing I say a lot is like, gentlemen, if y'all set boundaries early on with the women in your lives,
It's better.
they will respect them or they will move on.
Yeah.
But you do it early so that you don't become bitter, you don't become frustrated, you don't have to swallow your emotions and then normalize that becomes like real patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? When you're normalizing being incomplete.
Yeah, so I'd add to that as well is there's this whole dynamic, I think, that I see very commonly in dating spaces where rather than setting that boundary and using that as a litmus test for whether you're going to engage in a partnership in long term or not, people go based off of attraction, and then they're just like, all right, now let me try to mold this person into my ideal, into somebody that fits into what I want. And it's like, nah, it's about compatibility. You have to find somebody who's compatible with your needs. You can't just try to change somebody to become compatible with your needs. So if you're trying to engage with somebody and they're trying to do the traditional, you handle the finances, you pay for everything kind of thing, then you can't go into that expecting to turn that person into a 50-50 warrior. Like, that's not going to happen.
You can't turn soft life into
that's just a financial example, but there are dynamics as well.
And
y'all missed that. You can't turn soft life into bell hooks. You gotta
exactly. No, exactly.
I just think it's
dating,
not
I was thinking
overnight
about this
anyway.
today, like, I for sure,
I don't know.
based on my politics and based on all of our politics, I think we understand the sort of silly nature of the 50-50 discourse, but also on first dates, my natural inclination and the thing I usually do is just like the chivalrous thing. Even though I know that's not, like, I know the politics behind that and how, I froze, and how like I get the problems with the politics behind that, but also that's just like ingrained into me. And also that works, like, in terms of like when we're talking, like, it's a nice thing to do, but also that's in the same way that it's socialized into me, it's socialized into like cishet girls in my experience. And so
my wife likes
even
that.
though there is that element of the politics that contradicts, it's like
super hard.
If we're talking about actionable advice, it's like, yes, from a left perspective, we know the problem here,
Jamie's
but
in the left
also
corner.
if as soon as you get the check, you could do this from like both angles. You could do this from the manosphere way of like, oh, I don't want you to, I'm not going to provision for you because, you could be dating other guys and then I'm just paying for your way through this dinner. Or you could do it from the other way, which again, obviously is more valid.
Patriarchy,
like, from my perspective,
so
is that like, without it
actually
because we both earn money and because we both work,
you know,
because modern patriarchy has in some sense declined on the economics, we should both chip in and split this bill, which again, obviously that's more equitable. It's different, it's for different purposes, but it's the same sort of,
it's hard to get there,
like, action, I guess,
Also, like, this is not universal, and I think the universalizing the norms of patriarchal dating dynamics is a problem, like, across the board. And I hear kids yelling.
I love that.
So, like, for example, 20 years ago, so not even like in this modern gender wars on Twitter world, 20 years ago when I met my wife, I may have paid for the first date, which was very cheap. She paid for every date for like the next year because a brother didn't have no money. And if we wanted to go out, it was going to have to be on her dime. That was just the reality of the situation. And it was never a conversation around, like, she never made me feel like I was doing something wrong in that regard. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
That's unique because another woman I may have met, we just may not have worked out in that situation. It may have been a situation where I needed to just not date for a while until I had enough money to pay for dates. Shout out to Waving Red Flag. They were talking about like this idea that being broke shouldn't bar you from love, and it shouldn't. right? Like there's no like the broke boys don't deserve no pussy line.
Yeah,
it's a problem. At the same time, you have to be realistic in terms of like the dating market and what your options may or may not be, and what you should be focused on in a given situation. And if you are lucky enough to find a person that is interested in partnering with you despite a lack of economic viability, dope. But you also need to respect that that's not an easy thing to find.
Also, I think they'll probably talk about it, but it's what I'm trying to think about here. It's interesting. I think he already covered it. Like he said, maybe you need to focus on something else. But this is my problem for a long time. When I met my wife, I was broke. When I met most of my partners that I was with before, I was broke. So, and in my opinion, the relationships prior to my wife actually didn't work out in large part because, not just because like I didn't have enough money to take care of them, but because I hadn't figured out my own financial situation for myself, let alone with someone else involved. And I hadn't figured out a lot of other stuff in my life consequently. And sometimes money can be a good indicator of that. So I think what FD might be saying, and in my opinion, what I would suggest is if, broke people can date, all that kind of stuff, but take turns paying for dates, exactly. But like, the reality is that like if you're constantly like literally no money, like I've been there, you're like overdrafted constantly or whatever, and you live with your parents or something, it's possible that you should take a few months at the very least and put your head down and not date, honestly. And I wish I had taken that advice earlier in my youth. But, I don't regret anything because I love my family and my wife so much. I wouldn't have had things turn out any other way, but I definitely, if I were to do things over, I would take FD's advice. And, if you're seriously broke in that kind of way and you can't even like take someone out to coffee or, buy them a candy bar or something here and there, or, that's like, you have to like scrape together to do that once or twice, maybe consider working on yourself a little bit. And, but if that's your everyday and that's, you just have low funds, but, you can take care of yourself that way and you have enough to take someone out for just a coffee or, just enough to, take care of yourself and they agree to go to a park or something that's free, that's cool. I think what he's saying is, if you're trying to specifically plan things and the person is wanting not to go on a date that is low cost, and, it's putting up roadblocks, either you need to find a different partner, or if you want to date someone like that, it's possible you need to, reevaluate your choices. And again, for me, the problem was that the money was tied, that having no money and being broke all the time was actually tied to me needing to fix certain things in my life. You don't need a lot of extra money, but I had like literally no extra money ever, and I was so irresponsible with it that when I did get some, I couldn't keep it to spend it on my partner. I would spend it on myself, which is super shitty. So, and I wouldn't save it just in case for later either. So, money is a difficult thing, but I think he's saying like that's a relationship thing that you need to work on regardless, because if you want to be with someone long term, they're not going to want to be with you if you can't at least somehow let them know that you'll be able to work with them to make your shared finances work. You don't have to necessarily be a breadwinner, I don't think, to be with someone, but having complete financial instability is not attractive to almost anyone. So, take a few months, fucking just chill, hang out with us on stream, and we'll be here every day, and you can just save money. We promise this doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, like that, and let me tell you, like this is coming from someone that literally talks
Use the
the
restroom, I'll be right
progressive,
back.
talk very intersectional, blue-haired feminist. Every time on YouTube, that's me. Like in my bio, I'm gonna change it to blue-haired, blonde-eyed feminist. But the fact of the matter is, as soon as I step away, I have to fit back into very patriarchal molds. And like how you were saying just now, Unc, about like, I'll be real, like I was taught. Literally, my ma just told me, like from the jump, she was just like, "Do not marry a woman if you cannot take care of her." Like just from the jump. Like my old man, same thing. Unc, I could put you on blast because even like when I was coming to you for like advice for this shit, yeah, like I'll tell you this off camera. I said, but I would tell you the same. I would tell you the same thing. Is that I'll tell you, like, if you're gonna take this woman out of America and bring her into the Bahamas, you need to be able to make sure that everything is okay, because the fact of the matter is it's gonna be on you if it don't work. And that is legit my life. Like, I mean, in many different ways, like as I said, men, especially as I said, black men, because like we're stripped of power and stripped of dignity in many different circumstances. It was interesting to hear like what Noah was saying about how like you navigate chivalry and whatnot, because where it may seem like chivalry for you, it's almost like a mandatory thing. It feels mandatory for me. Like if it's not like my wife or like a girl that I'm talking to at a time, if we're in a situation where we have to pay, immediately I'm going for it, because not only am I thinking about what that is perceived by her, but everybody else around me. Everybody else.
It's an internalization of like the baseline miscreant nature of black men that you're always fighting against. If I don't pay for this date, then I'm a dusty.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And like, I have to. There's no. Go ahead, Andrew.
It reminds me of this meme of the broke boy hug, where like
the side hug, the church hug.
There's like a picture. The guy kind of hugs the girl like over her shoulders when she's paying for something.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if y'all seen that meme before or not, but that image haunts me, right? I never want to be in that position. And to relate to something else you were saying earlier about how our father was saying, his mom was saying that you gotta be able to take care of a girl before you get in a relationship. Like that was the same thing for me. It was like, you shouldn't be dating unless you have a job. I wasn't really like, there was the expectation you weren't really supposed to. That kind of teenage relationships were like a no-go until you get in some cheese,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the when I did the one of my first videos, I think I left this up, the buy him a PS5 video. I did a whole montage of those. Of like, it's you hugging over her shoulder.
All right, unfortunately,
while she swiped the card. That's the broke.
My son looks like he's up, so we're gonna end the stream. We may be back a little bit later, but thanks for hanging out with us this morning. If you want to see if we have a part 2, just subscribe to the channel directly. Hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified when we go live again. You'll get an email in your inbox, and you can just jump in with us. It'll be sometime later today. Who knows when? If not, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. My name is Jamie. I can't play guitar. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a good day.